Hi, I'm Mr. Kangas, and today we're going to take a look at Chapter 2, Section 3, Subtracting Integers. When we talk about subtracting integers, we're actually going to be talking more about adding integers. So if you watch the videos on Chapter 2, Section 2, you've already got about 75 to 80% of the skills you need to subtract integers. The only thing that you really at this point need to know to subtract integers is an acronym that I like to use called KFC. Now, that doesn't stand for Kentucky Fried Chicken in this case. We're talking about keep, flip, change. So what does that do for us? Well, when we have a subtraction problem, such as 5 minus 3, and I'm using an easy problem on purpose so I can show you how this works and show you that not only how it works, but that it does actually work. We all know the answer to this problem already. 5 minus 3 should get us an answer of 2. Okay. And when we use keep, flip, change, what happens there is we keep the number on the left the same. We flip the subtraction to addition, and we change the sign of the positive 3 to a negative 3. And what should happen here is we shouldn't get a different answer. We should get the same answer. All keep, flip, change does is take the same problem and write it in a different way. It doesn't change the problem to get us a different answer. You're still, anytime you use keep, flip, change on subtraction, you will always get the same answer that you would have in the original problem. All you've done is you've taken the 5 minus 3 and you've written it in a different way. So 5 plus negative 3 does actually get you positive 2. If you're on a number line and you add negative 3, you move to the left 3 spaces. If you're on a number line and you subtract 3, you still move to the left 3 spaces. So in both problems, we started at 5 and we moved left 3 spaces. So like I said, we're writing the problem in a different way. Subtract 3 and plus negative 3 both tell you to move left 3 spaces or to take away 3 things. So the question is, why are we using KFC then? Why would we change the problem if it's doing the same exact thing? And there are 2 reasons for that. One reason is it's going to eliminate having to memorize more rules. In the previous problem, we learned about adding integers and adding integers with same signs and different signs. And we talked about how when you have same signs, you add the numbers and you keep the sign. And when you are adding integers with different signs, so one of each, you subtract the numbers and you keep the sign of the bigger number. Well, if I didn't use KFC, then I would have to teach you same sign and different signs for subtracting integers. I'd have to teach you rules for same signs and teach you rules for different signs when you're subtracting integers. But with KFC, I don't have to. And you don't have to remember them. All you have to remember is KFC, because what happens when you use KFC is it takes that subtraction problem and it makes an addition problem out of it that will get you the same answer. So now all you have to do is remember the addition rules. So if you use keep, flip, change, remember we only use keep, flip, change on subtraction. So for example, in a problem like 4 minus 7, which does not get you an answer of 3, by the way, 4 minus 7 is going to get you a negative answer. If we use keep, flip, change, it becomes 4 plus negative 7. Now all I have to do is remember my addition rule for different signs. So if I have different signs, I subtract the 2 numbers. So I do 7 minus 4 and get 3. And I keep the sign of the bigger number, which is a negative, and I get an answer of negative 3. So I didn't have to try to remember a subtraction rule. I just did keep, flip, change, and then use my addition rules. And there's more reason to use KFC than just so that you don't have to remember as many rules. Actually, there's a much more important reason that comes into play when we get into more of the algebra, and we start solving, doing multi-step equations and things like that. For example, in a problem like this, you might be asked to simplify it, make it smaller. This is a really long, big problem for some of us. And according to the order of operations, I have to do, when I have just addition and subtraction in my problem, the order of operations says you have to go from left to right and solve whatever comes first. So technically, right now, I would have to do 3x plus 4 first. The problem is, as you begin to learn about algebra, you'll realize that 3x plus 4 isn't a problem you can do. They're not what are called like terms. They don't both end in the same letter. So you can't add them together, so you would be stuck and you wouldn't be able to simplify this problem. But if you know about keep, flip, change, you can keep the 4 the same, flip the subtraction to addition, change the sign of the positive 7 to a negative from a positive, so you change it to the opposite sign. And now all of a sudden I went from having addition and subtraction in my problem to all addition. And if you remember correctly from chapter 1, section 4, when you have all addition in your problem, you can do it in any order you want. It's called the commutative property. So I can now add things in any order I want. So I can do 4 plus negative 7. And when I do that, I'm going to get an answer of negative 3. The plus 2x can fall down. The plus 3x can fall down. And now I can do 3x plus 2x and get 5x plus negative 3. So because of keep, flip, change, I was able to use the commutative property to help me simplify this problem. So I went from this big long problem to this small problem. And there is a lot more uses of KFC similar to this one. And you will be using it very, very often as we get into the algebra portion of these videos down the road, especially in chapters 7, chapter 8, and even quite a bit in chapter 3 as well. We'll be talking more and more about that. So my big thing is whenever you see subtraction, always use keep, flip, change. Whether or not you think you know the answer to the subtraction problem, always, always, always use keep, flip, change. That should be the first thing you do in any problem you see. If it has subtraction, use keep, flip, change. And it will make your life easier. It will help to limit the number of mistakes you make. And it will help you simplify and solve problems quicker as well. So that's all there is to subtracting integers. Chapter 2, section 3, remember, just use keep, flip, change, and then follow your addition rules.